Dear human, dear soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. Since a near-death experience, I have the gift to communicate with subtle levels of the cosmos. The knowledge from these for us invisible forms of energy I capture in my books, and it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge, these conversations, with you as a supplement to the books. Please excuse me if the terms and articulations are not perfect. Our mother tongue is German, but we try to translate it to the best of our abilities. Thank you.
Today, I want to understand how voodoo works energetically and why it is so powerful. Please, speak. Whatever you know about it.
I am very fond of doing that, my dear. My perception of it is as follows. Through the connection of the cosmos into all areas, there are also images, pictures, shapes, anything that symbolically acts as a placeholder, he says, for something else, connected with the grand whole. Do people now project various energies onto this placeholder when they have an intention? Thus, through the connections in the cosmos, they become perceptible in the actual being. We know that such practices, of course, break the laws of energy and thereby causes a lot of negative, polluting resonances among the producers.
I find it highly questionable that this is even allowed in a cosmos that operates solely on permission and prohibition. There must be some kind of cosmic protection, a barrier to prevent others from just energetically entering one's own energy system, being able to intervene in the life of another.
The problem is indeed the connection. You cannot separate them. Everything is connected to everything else in different ways, but it is connected. And if the practitioners now know the laws of nature and actively use them, they can indeed act across all distances of the cosmos right into a soul's core. When you judge in the grand scheme of things. The cosmos does not intervene unless it causes energetic imbalances. Personal responsibility, as you know, stands above all.
Yes.
Do these forces work in the cosmos? Thus, they invoke a lot of impurity and distortions of their soul energies among the producers, the energy lawbreakers. That alone means a lot. A lot of balancing and cleansing work. The being in question, the target soul, but can also noticeably ask for protection and cleansing based on her own responsibility. Do you understand? There is no sign that makes such a thing generally impossible. That would mean separation, and this is the opposite of the principle of the cosmos. But there are tools for everyone that they can then apply to detach oneself from these fields, from these transformations of the fields, to cleanse again.
Okay, I get it. Does the affected person maybe receive a kind of special support from the cosmos?
Yes, indeed. For what has happened beyond his free will. And when he starts to override his free will again, to specifically ask for cleansing and help, such distortions in the energy fields dissolve very quickly again. It is like you're denting the soul from the outside, or other forms of deformations. But as soon as the soul becomes aware of these deformations and dents, it can cleanse itself again very quickly and ask for a lot of cosmic help in the process.
Understand. This is a very nice example that the soul is not powerless and helpless as always.
Yes, That's exactly how it is. No one is powerless in the cosmos. Every force field, every soul, every energy endowed with consciousness can exercise such problems, become aware, and transform them immediately. Everything is always in transformation. You know that. And if a transformation occurs without the soul's will, it is easily correctable.
But what about those who aren't that conscious? Can you really only be helped if you actively ask for help? If you become aware of yourself and such contamination to a certain extent, and then take action, actively ask for help?
Well, what should I say? Consciousness in souls is always present. Please don't forget that.
See you next time.
It is the unconsciousness that can occur over the course of incarnations. Each of you is called upon not to allow this.
So the fact that such things even happen, in the end, once again a kind of call, at least energetically speaking, to work on oneself and grow, so it doesn't get monitored. Whether it has happened once or can happen again, if it has happened to someone, or that it just cannot happen at all.
In a way, yes. You all have the sole responsibility for your energy fields. No one can and should intervene in it. If this happens in the cosmos, in the sea of cosmos, as you so beautifully put it, then you are all the more called upon to stay true to yourselves, to become fully who you are, to fully embrace your power, to correct this.
I understand. So it's more or less a kind of danger in the cosmos. There is a risk, as there is in life, of being caught in a situation through no fault of your own, involved in an accident, getting entangled. But still, you always have the tools with you to fix yourself and get healthy again.
So it is.
And the key is, as always, personal responsibility. And above all, awareness. Right? I got that. But what happens now with them? Those who initiate it. The perpetrators, if you will.
They bring imbalance into your energetics. On the influence of free will, beyond cosmic laws, without permission, they become very contaminated and may need many, many incarnations to correct this again.
Wow. That means it's quite irresponsible to do such a thing. I mean towards oneself and others.
Yes, that's it.
This leads me straight to the next point. Can you tell me something about black magic? Is it even real? What is it? What does it mean? How can it be classified?
See, Sylvia.
Uh-huh.
I do not like the term black magic at all.
Why?
Because it first names the contamination of several possibilities and the word magic. It is mostly interpreted in a completely different way by people. I mean to say that there is no such thing as black power in the cosmos. Perhaps a bit less luminous and thus less powerful, but that is not what is meant. Therefore, black as a color description, or at least as a designation of dark forces, is already given here. Completely wrong. Magic, as mentioned before, means something different to everyone. These two words together always form a huge distortion of the truths. I would therefore like to describe it as disrespectful behavior. Simply and plainly, just disrespectful action.
Disrespectful behavior sounds naturally less dramatic. Please stay with my question. What exactly does disrespectful behavior in the cosmos mean? Energies and the cosmos.
Much better, Sylvia. So, in the cosmos, Being means being respectful. There is none I want. No matter if you want, I do. No matter if you join, I act. No matter if you want. That does not exist. Everything is connected. The more conscious the perception, the stronger the connection. And this, in turn, means that every action, every activity acts in harmony with these energies. You experience this great field of love back then in your near-death experience.
Yes.
It does not allow such negative forces because it feels the connection to everything. And do you feel this connection? So you are to each other in this respect. One thing leads to another. It's like a nameless law that's just simple. What happens now in the human body or with other incarnate bodies is that this connection is less strong or not perceived at all. What you call empathy is only a fraction of the power, the feeling you have for each other without strength. The body, however, with its skin sensations and generally with the diversion of the senses within it, creates the illusion of dreams, the distance between them, the illusion, the separation. And then disrespectful acts occur. Disrespectful, consciously materialized impulses are therefore much more powerful and resonant with each other. As mentioned in the example just now, whoever does this, one takes a very big risk of contaminating it for a long time, for oneself and one's spiritual strength, to distort and mutilate.
Just to make sure we've cleared this up, I want to ask again. For you, what we call black magic is generally disrespectful behavior in yourself. Energy fields, yes. Namely, someone who trivializes black magic and thinks it's not evil, or maybe doesn't intend anything evil.
Yes. Now we are exactly at the issue I mentioned at the very beginning. I don't like this choice of words at all, because it always means something else. Do you get it? Maybe he does white magic, acts of light, and thinks it's black magic, but doesn't see it as negative. Do you understand? The concept is completely distorted by these words. It essentially boils down to these words. Disrespectful action, or action full of light, action full of love.
There's also the term white magic on earth, which supposedly operates with permission, hence with respect. What exactly is the opposite of black magic, the disrespect? So could one then call this as loving action, right?
Right. That's all that's of interest here. Because regarding disrespectful behavior in the cosmos, essentially everything has been said. What's with the disrespectful way of talking about free will? Disregards the permission of other cosmic energies. It's quite simple, Sylvia.
When I was in Cuba with the shamans, those people also asked for permission to speak with the deceased, but also used animals as sacrifices. Back then, I always had this feeling that it wasn't right, that here a poor creature has to give up its life energy for someone. So you worked with permission on one hand, but how can you justify becoming an actual enemy of life by unconsciously draining a creature of its life force to use them in other ways?
This is a very, very important question, my dear, and I want to answer it thoroughly. Of course, getting permission is good and right on one hand. They ask for permission to do these works. With that, all is well. And they do not formulate messages that are not allowed to be formulated, unlike some other media of your times. Most of the time, at least. Then comes the challenge of helping these souls. And most of the time, the contacted deceased want to pass on energy to the patient, don't they?
Yes.
Energy flows into these souls. And for that, they need small energy fields. These small energy fields are found in small animals. To help, they must sacrifice this life.
And under the guise of wanting to help, is that really allowed? No. See? I thought so. Please go on.
Their ignorance of the cosmic laws leads them to repeatedly break these laws through these murders. It's not true that the meat or blood of these animals is the only way to give energy to the souls. To give and to help? No. So no, that's not correct. Rather, it's ignorance.
Okay, and what happens next in the episode? I mean, the intention is good, but the execution is not quite right again, like so much on earth. What happens then to the souls who do that? Those who have good intentions behind it, but still break an energy law?
Oh yes, this way of acting just makes me very sad.
This year?
Elves carry the good within themselves. But about these many activities of the world, for unauthorized killing to take energy, they create many other negative resonances. That is sad, and I'm sorry, because it really isn't necessary. Just learning the cosmic laws, acting in harmony with them, would convey to you so many other ways of energy transfer and cleansing rituals that this killing wouldn't be necessary.
But this is just a very old tradition. People back then didn't know any better.
Yes,
Yes,
and
I'm not trying to excuse it. Don't worry, I'm just saying that I think they have not experienced any kind of further education. They have essentially gotten stuck, always passing it on in a traditional way, and also didn't allow any more impulses from the cosmos. Once set, it stays. But when they kill such an animal, what exactly happens there?
the energy of this being transfers into the energy field of the one being treated. There, it acts acceleratively, and in the best case, of course, purifyingly. The intention of the practitioners is also crucial. You know, energy fields are changeable, and intention is a very, very strong force. A strong impulse is given. Into the power of the other soul to enact what is intended there. That's all.
I still find it terrible that in the year 2020, people still believe that animal sacrifices are seriously a good thing. That's very short-term, very short-sighted. When I feel the bigger picture, then I can't do something like that.
Yes, that's how it is. It is very unconscious and short-sighted, as you say. Myopic, I would say. They simply don't see the big picture.
What would be alternatives now to provide energy fields to the soul, to help, for example? Silence.
For instance, meditating a lot and asking for energy, or work with crystals and channel the energy of the cosmos into yourself, or make the cosmic cross every morning. Or are you?
Whenever
black?
man.
Or perform other very light-filled rituals of cleansing. There really is a lot. Many, many ways to address this energy leak, or to correct this contamination by the power of one's own free will. But that's exactly the point here. In responsibility to all life and all energies, not to exploit and break them.
In Cuba, I saw someone else get a session like that, and a poor chicken had to die for it. Is the recipient innocent in this case, since he just followed the people he asked for help?
You really want to know that?
Why shouldn't I know? We don't hold back any information, do we? We want to enlighten. Okay, then please answer.
His soul gained strength from it, but no cleansing whatsoever. What speeds things up on one hand must be balanced on the
So,
other.
a step forward, 2 steps back, or what?
However you want to become,
Subtitles for
that
documentary?
is the energetic truth. He can, however, carry out these cleansings every day, at any time, over the other alternatives that I have mentioned here, for example, and also correct this deed again. Please do not forget, you are not powerless. You are not powerless. He can use every day, every moment to correct that. It's not bad, and it's not catastrophic or anything. It's simply a call to action right now.
I understand. It's also nice that you say that again. Have I ever come into contact with black magic? No. Okay, I don't want that either. Sorry for using that word again. I meant, of course, such disrespectful actions.
Disrespectful in action. Much better, dear, much better. Please stick to these words from now on. The other is just fairy tales and distortion
Yes,
time.
you're right. Would you like to add anything about disrespectful actions in the cosmos?
No. It's so easy to describe in itself that there's no need to talk so much around it. That only makes it more complicated.
Yes.
Disrespectful actions are disrespectful actions. The words are already the essence.
All right. I guess I have no more questions on that. That has been quite interesting indeed. I like how you always draw the big picture, how you always call to see the whole thing. It's very expanding, enriching, fulfilling, and joyous in a certain way. It broadens my view. Falls makes greatness out of the human cocoon, and it all becomes so clear, so logical. As a result, it takes away all fear, and one feels as if bring on even more. Of course, being responsible for oneself, his tools, and the many possibilities in the cosmos. All these things with guilt and fears and dangers become relative, almost dissolve into conscious action. In conscious knowledge, consciously directing the mind and each step, and this deliberate steering, that's a very nice feeling. I wanted to thank you for that once again. Thank you, dear friend. Really, it's absolutely fantastic. Gives me a solid, steady feeling that we are never powerless in the cosmos, but that we can always act. And we are never lost in this sea of energies. Yes, whatever mistakes we make, we can correct them.